Romans 8:18 says, our present sufferings cannot be compared to the glory that's going to be revealed to us. I do consider it pure joy that I have encountered suffering of so many types. Because if my present sufferings were any indication of the joy and the glory that's to come, my mind can't conceive of how overwhelmingly stunning eternity is going to be. In this testimony, I'm going to talk about mental illness or mental disorders. Approximately 20 years ago, I was diagnosed with PTSD. I was kind of seeing things, sometimes hearing things. I was sleeping only during the day, not sleeping at night, not eating. This went on for months. I was genuinely terrified for a long time. I was living in pure fear for a long time. I was unable to concentrate. The episode that caused the PTSD that weighed on me for several years after the fact. Since that time, I started seeing a psychiatrist immediately after the event that caused the PTSD. And over the coming years, I was diagnosed with Schizo-Effective disorder, Bipolar 1 disorder, generalized anxiety, acute anxiety, panic disorder, borderline personality disorder, and was there anything else? I think that was all of them. Anyway, I was diagnosed over the coming years with all of those things. And not wrongly. I was suffering for a long time. I was having suicidal thoughts constantly.
I am really concerned right now that I might do something stupid. I woke up shaken, and the idea of killing myself is making me nervous.
I had started cutting myself, and the cutting was never to kill me. I was never cutting myself to kill myself. The cutting, and this is, anyone that's ever dealt with it understands, but for family members and friends that don't know, for people that cut themselves, or in my case, let me just speak from my experience, the cutting was never to mutilate myself. And it was bad. But I was cutting because the pain in my mind, and this is how you really know how powerful our minds are. The pain in my mind was so intense that the only way to distract from it was physical pain. That pain wasn't even enough to compare to the mental anguish. That's why our minds are so important. Our minds are important, man. I know that sounds like a simple statement, but mental pain is excruciating. And unlike physical pain where there may be, pills or something to lighten the load, in my situation, those pills never helped. I, over the years, have taken almost every single antipsychotic and antidepressant on the market. At one time, I was, for I want to say over a year, taking 7 different types of medication at once. And I had withdrawn from my family. I'd withdrawn from friends. I had gained so much weight. Those antipsychotics, I ballooned. What I weighed, I got up to 225 pounds. One thing that I had dealt with for a long time was racing, intrusive thoughts. My thoughts were constantly bad. They were constantly shifting and switching and fast and hurtful. I couldn't go out places. I remember not being able to stand being out with people for longer than an hour. I think an hour was my absolute max. And after an hour, I started feeling like people were staring at me all the time. I started feeling self-conscious, like, am I acting and behaving like everyone else? Am I being weird right now? This is uncomfortable. Sometimes I would start sweating and I would immediately have to go home. Social anxiety, that was another huge thing. I relied so heavily on the pills I was given to help just make me even, because I was always stressed and panicking, that for years I was just a zombie. I was just a walking, just walking around, nothing going on upstairs, just going through the motions, trying to just barely hang on to make it. And I remember sleep was my best friend for about like 15 years. I slept to run away from from my thoughts, from the intrusive thoughts, from the painful thoughts, from the thoughts that you're worthless, nobody wants you, nobody loves you. They say they care, but they don't really care. All those intrusive, toxic thoughts of the enemy that I was receiving, that I was allowing to come into my mind and to sink me deeper and deeper. And what it was doing, God, what it was doing was, it was making me more and more depressed. And in that depression, it was taking me out from my mind.
Still shaking and exhausted and panicking this morning. I haven't stopped panicking since yesterday, or maybe the day before. The days are jumbled and I don't remember very much. All I know is I'm scared for no reason. I'm shaking for no reason. And even though I slept, I'm not really rested. My 1,000 miles a minute. It's getting on my nerves. Took my Klonopin, and I took all my medicine as prescribed, and I did my breathing exercises, and I think that's it. Just still kind of in fight or flight mode, like, for no reason.
It was trying to take me out. I had become this shell of a person that didn't want to exist anymore. I didn't want to exist. I had suicidal ideations all the time. All the time. I'm afraid of what I might do. In the last couple of days, I've had some really, really strong feelings about driving off the road. Driving's been kind of dangerous. Because I'm kind of zoning out a little bit, a lot. I feel very, very alone, and I don't want to kill myself, but feeling like this is excruciating. I look in the mirror and I'm fat and ugly. And I don't have anybody to turn to. Now, the blessing is that the hand of God has always been over my life. He has always been with me, and he is always with you. Whether we feel like he's with us or not, he is always with us right now. God is with you right now. And even in my worst moments where I was hearing things or seeing things or feeling like everyone hated me, and even in my worst moments of cutting and all that stuff, I could not bring myself to even attempt suicide, because in my knower, in the deep down real place in me, because everything that I had been experiencing was a lie. That was a lie from the pit of hell. All those intrusive thoughts, those you're worthless, nobody likes you, you're ugly, and all these thoughts, they were the lie that I was buying. But because God resides on the inside of us, in my knower, I knew that God was with me. I knew that suicide was not an option. And I knew even then, to God in heaven be the glory, I knew even then that I wanted to see my Savior. That was what I was holding on to. I've always held on to that. I didn't know how then. I did not really grow up going to church every Sunday or knowing God. In my main household, Sundays were chill days. We didn't really talk about God. There was a big Bible on the table, but there was no talk of who Christ was or what he meant in our lives. But he's always had his hand on me. He's always had his hand on me, and I thank God. I thank him. Because honestly, even even in those rough moments, like I said, even in the most rough moments, I couldn't bring myself to kill myself. And I didn't want to be here anymore. That wasn't the issue. I didn't want to live on earth anymore at that time. But God kept me. And in those moments, all those years, I didn't have any hope. When people would say, focus on, I remember people were driven. People were looking, to pursue goals and to pursue things in their lives. And I was like, how do you get there? I had no hope for anything. In my head, I was like, well, what am I doing this for? I get a home for what? To live in it. Then what? I get a family that I'm not ready for because I'm not whole. And then what? I had no hope for anything. That was the problem. There was no hope. When Christ saved me, He gave me hope. The hope that He gave me, it washed out all of the lies that I had believed before. Those intrusive thoughts, those toxic you're nothing thoughts, those were demonic. Those were of the devil. Those I believe were spirits. The real traumas that I experienced in the past, I had to be healed from. I had to talk to someone, to seek counseling, to work through those issues. I did. And make no mistake, I still have bad days, rough days, and the enemy is always trying to speak. The enemy is always trying to tell you, hey, you're worthless. The difference now from then is that I believe what Christ says about me now. The lies that I hear, I don't believe anymore. Those thoughts that when you go out in public, you might go somewhere and everybody looks, incredible, or, they have, fabulous outfits on or something, and you walk in like jeans and stuff, and you get self-conscious, and there might be a tiny thought in there that creeps in like, you're not as good as these people. Even just, and it'll be thoughts that lead up to that point. It'll be, wow, you are dressed terrible. Look at how they're dressed. They look nice. They might be better than you. You're not as good as these people. It's gradual. Those thoughts are gradual. The difference is recognizing them. And as soon as I got in the Word and I started to see what God says about who I am versus those thoughts, I don't believe the lie anymore. I don't believe it anymore. That's the difference. And He's given me hope for something so much bigger than anything that's here. Than anything that is on this earth. The hope that is available to every single human on earth, the hope that is available is so much bigger. If we focus on the things that are happening here, we will always live in fear. We'll always be. It's designed to keep you trapped and keep you small and keep you feeling overwhelmed and stressed and hurt. That's the design. God is He's still working on me. Every day He's working on me. The more I get into His Word, the more I understand, the more He reveals, the stronger I get in my spirit, in my soul, in my mind, the places that count. Because those things, those intangible things, those last forever. Our bodies are fleeting. In Adam, we all die. Our bodies all die. But our spirit is eternal. And I want my spirit to go on to be with Jesus. And those lies I believed, all the toxic thoughts, and I'm telling you, one by one, and it's a fight. It is a fight. But the good thing is, and the thing I'm realizing more and more every day, is that the more I give to God, the more release I feel. The more release, because I still deal with stress. I still deal with anxiety, and I mean, you walk out the door and it's like punching you in the face. But that's why we have to stay like girded in the word. We have to stay like saying what God says in his word about when we step out. I am the righteousness of God through Christ Jesus. Nothing shall by any means harm me. Like, go out the door with that in mind and walk in strength like that. Those are the things I have to constantly do to remain girded, because this world that we live in right now, it was designed to keep you with, PTSD and a lot of those diagnoses. I when we talk to professionals and stuff, a lot of these things are the same things with different names. They're the same thing with different names. You can be diagnosed with 7 things and really, I think, only have 1 or 2. And the other thing is attaching those things to your identity. I was calling myself, because people would say, oh, she's, mentally ill. Okay. But who does God use? God uses the least of us to spread his message. Those people that deal with substance abuse and alcoholism, all that stuff, God will use the least of us. And when you start growing, and when you start, first of all, when you get saved, because God will snatch so much stuff out of you that was there, and some of the stuff you won't even remember that you were dealing with. I mean, yeah, the main stuff that you deal with, but you'll look back later and be like, when was the last time I felt this? I haven't wanted to do that. And the small things he will snatch out of you, never to return. He will use the least of us. Those people, they get upset with prisoners, they go to jail, and then they find God afterwards, and people are like, that's the, he only found it because he was in there, just bored and stuff. Okay, you're gonna mess around and miss a blessing, because those people are being used by God. He is a vessel through which he is moving, and you will miss a blessing looking at who somebody used to be versus who they are right now in Christ. People miss their blessings all the time because they look at family members, they look at friends that dealt with drugs or alcohol or mental illness or sexual abuse or anything like that, or were homeless or anything that makes you a little bit less than society would want you to be. They'll look at those people and say, oh no, I don't trust them, because look who they were, look who they are. They were just 10 minutes ago doing drugs or doing this, and now all of a sudden everything's changed. Yes, because that's how he works. He will snatch it out of you in a moment, and those people will go on to be, and they might not even do anything big. They might not even, they might just be walking around in the spirit, walking by people, casting out demons, and you won't even know it. Blessing people, just walking by. We cannot look at the package that blessings come in, because we will miss out on our blessings when we look at people through the lens of their mental illness or their past mental illness. Because I receive that if there is anybody right now that is watching this and they deal with any type of mental illness, if they deal with any type of substance abuse, drug abuse, any affliction, I receive by the blood of the Lamb and the word of my testimony right now, I receive that they no longer deal with that issue. You are a blessing. You are a blessing. The best way for people to see your blessing is to give it all to God. Give every painful moment to God. Say, Lord, I can't handle this by myself. And we can't. That's why we keep sinking lower and lower and you know, feeling worse and worse, because we can't do it by ourselves. We need him. He is strength. He is strength. Release it all to Jesus. Give it all to him. His yoke is easy and his burden is light. Give it to him. He can handle it. He's with you anyway. He's just waiting. God, if you just talk to him right now and just say, God, take this. Take it. I don't want it anymore. I want you. Just stop in the moment and just say that. I don't know who you are that's watching this right now, but I love you. And you're not supposed to say that to like people you don't know. The love of God is in me. The love of God is in me. He loves every single person on this earth. If that love resides in me, I love you. I thank you for watching. I thank God for you. I pray that he moves in your life in a way that you have never encountered. And all you have to do is call on him. To God be the glory.